Bless you. Double bless you.
Yeah, I still had some in there.
So,
Can I grab it?
let's grab them.
Okay.
Let's see what we're tasting here. So, lucky you. IPA. Run us through.
Was it last week that we did a hazy?
I think it was. Or
Right.
no, it was the week before. The week before when we talked about with Shoku Tensei, we did a hazy.
Okay, and last week wasn't a sour, but it wasn't like an IPA.
Right.
All right, well, I mean, hell yeah. Number 2 for your boy. It's
Yeah.
Mother Earth Brewing Co. It's a conditioned reflex hazy IPA. It says it's a Mosaic Vic Secret. Do you know what that means?
Vic Secret?
Yeah, it says right on it. It says Mosaic, and then it's got the little bar, and it says Vic Secret.
Automatically, I think of like Victoria's Secret.
Same, but I, for
Vic
some reason,
Secret.
feel like
Yeah.
this is not lingerie.
Very well could be. So we have the original artwork by Corey Clark. It's a cool kind of little wolf here, if you guys can see it.
Oh, it's got his Instagram on there, too. I'll put that up.
Yeah, we'll have to throw that up there. And then cool little fact about Mother Earth is when I lived in Oceanside, California, there in Vista, so just kind of the town over, like 10 minutes, and I used to go to the brewery until today, after owning this beer for a couple weeks. Didn't realize it was Mother Earth.
So
Really
it's
cool.
Pretty close to home.
Pretty close to home, yeah.
It's 7% alcohol by volume. And I am excited to try it. So I'm going to go ahead and crack it open.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, is Mosaic different strains? Like it's multiple strains when it's called Mosaic, or is that not a specific type?
I don't know. Honestly, that might be too deep into like the craft beer lore for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm that deep.
Since I'm not the IPA guy, I really don't know much about that, but
I've had a lot of IPAs and I've tried a lot of different ones, but I've never heard the term Mosaic used.
Yeah. I believe it's the type of either hops or culture used to brew it. It's one of those. I'm like betting on black right now. I know it's a 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I trust you.
Let's give her a swig.
Sir.
What do you think?
It's pretty good. It's got a lot of the hit of an IPA.
Definitely.
It's like an IPA, like a grapefruit West Coast IPA.
Yeah.
That's like got all the bitterness of it, but just like a splash of the sweetness.
It has that metallic tinge to it where, like, if hazy wasn't on the can, I wouldn't have immediately thought hazy. I could see it by peering in, but it hits like just a traditional IPA where hazies are more often associated with like the juiced IPAs or the hazy, that cloudy kind of easier going down.
It definitely has that like juice flavor, but it's in the background. It's not the focal point. Whereas most hazies you have, they're very juicy, like the fresh squeezed from Elysian.
Yeah.
I think it's Elysian. But it's pretty good. I mean, I don't mind it. This is definitely the kind of hazy, though. This isn't the one I would go to if I was trying to easy drink.
No,
This is a tough hazy.
Like, this is not like in the hot summer before you spend an hour on the treadmill type of drink.
No, porkies.
Yeah.
I do love drinking and working out. I feel like I don't make nearly as much progress, but you're just hype.
Sometimes you just have to take your pre-workout, take a scoop, and just mix it into a seltzer.
I've never done that. But
I haven't, but it sounds like a good idea as I'm thinking of it.
We could try it, test it for science.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, just, don't worry about the liver.
I will say, though, like pre-workout, that's what you were talking about, right?
Yeah.
Mixing it in with the pre-workout. Pre-workout, I never really had a problem with, other than you know how you get that like vibrating sensation and you feel the need to lift something?
So that's the tingles. That's associated. Beta alanine is the proponent that kind of causes that feeling of like the pins and needles.
So it's an actual tingle. Like, it's a thing.
Yeah, very safe. It feels kind of like the first time you're like, am I having a reaction right now? But it's actually an amino acid.
Yeah.
So
for me, it I never really had a problem with it. Like I used pre-workout before I went to the gym most times. But there was one time I went to the gym and took some pre-workout beforehand, and I had to stop my workout early, leave the person I was with, and go home and just sit in the shower because it wrecked me.
Yeah, there are some, like some are definitely much stronger than others, but I've had this one where I remember getting it from like, there's the supplement shops, like not the GNCs, but the mom and pop ones.
Yeah.
That like, they got stuff in the back. And they had this pre-workout and they were like, yeah, you got to try this, bro. It's crazy. And I pick it up and I'm like curious about it. So I'm like looking up the ingredients. Can't find the ingredients on the label. You look it up. There's no website. There's like no social media. I'm pretty sure it was like meth. But I tried it and I just remember it was such intense tunnel vision. And I was like, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of pre-workout, but that one was... And then it was off the shelves after that, so...
Failed business practice.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we can just sell meth.
Pretty much, like...
Legally.
Just mango-flavored meth powder as a pre-workout.
That doesn't sound terrible.
Give
anything a try once.
You throw a little mango flavor on something, and I'll give it a shot. So, I mean... What's up, guys?
Are you gonna do the thing?
I'm not gonna do the clap this time. I'm gonna keep it classy here.
Damn, now I feel bad.
Let's do the clap.
No. Don't let me change things. Keep it classy for me. What you got?
All right. Thank you. Welcome. We are the 2D Research Club. I am your host, Giuseppe. Co-host, Ryan. Episode 7, baby. Lucky number 7. Let's run it.
I like that.
Yeah.
That was cool, calm, and collected. I feel bad for being crisscrossed during it. But
yeah, that is a special number. I feel like 7 is always that feel-good number.
Yeah. Well, we talked about it. At this point, I can't remember what was just our conversation or what we recorded, but I told you I was a 7 kid.
Yeah.
That was my lucky number, so
yeah.
Episode. Let's keep it classy.
Keep it classy,
keep it light.
Hopefully, it works at the casino too.
Yeah.
We've been going lately. We've been going to, was it Desert Diamond?
Yeah.
Cool spot.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Did you think it smelled like cigarettes in there?
No. Did you pick up on that?
No, I didn't think it did either, but one of my coworkers said that they went and they... like it still smelled like cigarettes, and I had thought that place was built after they made it illegal to smoke in casinos.
Yeah, like it smells like there's never been a cigarette smoked in there.
Yeah. At most, I would say maybe if you're close to the doors next to the smoking area, you could smell it, but
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe he's thinking of a different casino.
Maybe, but I mean, it's a cool spot, and I had to push the roulette table. Not going to give away the secret sauce, because it has been working, but it's just a good time being at the table.
Yeah. It is nice. One of my favorite part about being at the table is just like when you have the chips and you can just kind of like pick them up and drop them and get that really satisfying clicking noise.
You just look like you know what you're doing and it's your first time at a table.
Yeah. I'm just panicking. Like,
yeah.
I don't even know how to play roulette, and I just watch for what the people I'm with are doing and I copy their bets.
And then there's just like the villain, the guy that comes by, everyone's playing, feels like they have a good play on the table. He takes a couple black chips. Black is like $100 chips, and he just smacks one down like opposite bet, whatever you're doing, wins, smirks.
At the last minute.
Yeah.
I will say, though, that guy, he did do a lot of our bets.
He did.
There was a couple,
yeah.
I think twice he bet against us and won off of his $100.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's a $300 win right there. But I think most of the time he would just wait until the very end and then throw it, and it would sometimes it was on ours, but the dealer at our table leaned into me when he was doing that for a while.
Yeah.
And said, keep an eye on this guy, huh? And then like kept going as she was giving me my tips from my win.
Yeah.
And I was just, I think she was under the impression that he was doing something shady, because he would wait until after the no more bets, and then he would throw something on the table, and they would be like, okay, like fine, you can do it. And then he would win, and they would pay out 300. And he did that multiple times.
Yeah, he made a pretty penny there.
I don't know what he would be doing shady though. Like, do you know any method that's like he waits until the last minute? The ball hadn't even dropped. It hadn't come off of the rail and gone to the table yet. So there's no way he could have known, right?
Because, I mean, technically, he was playing on the outside, so a specific number would be definitely a better alibi, because, like, you really don't know where it's going to land, because the numbers aren't concurrent. It's not just like, what did they, it's kind of split up. And he was playing the outside, so he could kind of see where maybe it was like slowing down and slapped it down real quick. I don't know. To
me, because I was watching him, it didn't even look like he was looking at the wheel. He was looking at the table the whole time. It's like he didn't even care what it was going to land on. He just decided, oh, I'm going to go first.
That's probably it, yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just thought it was interesting that the dealer of the table leaned into me and was like, oh, sketchy, huh?
If anything was sketchy, there was a guy that walked by our table, grabbed a chip off the old guy next to us, like just, I think when he wasn't looking, grabbed one off the table and kept walking.
Oh, sick.
Which is funny because you can't steal those chips. So like,
because they're table specific.
Yeah, they're table specific, so you can't cash it in outside of the table.
Yeah, he could come back, buy in for 20 and then cash in, but like for one chip,
you can't even make a bet with one chip. Yeah.
You need
at least 3
if
it's like a minimum
chips,
chip. Yeah.
You have the 3.
Because he grabbed a green, so it was a minimum. But yeah, just putting it out there too. A real casino, it's a great time. It's nothing like anime has portrayed it to be.
What do you mean?
Have you seen? I shouldn't even apologize at this point. It's normal for me to butcher names.
Is it the Kakegari thing or
I was going to say Kakeguri. So Kakegari, yeah.
I don't know. It might be Kakeguri, but I know it's got Kake in front of it.
Yeah.
I can look it up real quick.
Yeah. Well, while you're looking that up, yeah.
What you were saying, it's not nearly as cool, or like it's more fun?
It's drier. Like, you definitely...
A lot more.
Because you watch that show and it kind of gets you hyped where you're like, I want to go gamble, after watching this. And you see all of the intense, like the action and kind of the... What they do in like a lot of like sports anime too, where they just over dramatize everything, but just like you see all these walks of life, just like cute girls and like everyone gambling, and you go to a real casino and it's pretty much the same type of people.
Yeah.
There's like the old guy that like pooped his pants next to you at the table normally,
that
which
was tough.
Real experience. Yeah, we had that where we didn't see him physically poop his pants, but it definitely smelled like someone pooped their pants, and no one else pooped their pants, so it kind of smelled like it was that guy. Rest in peace. I don't know if he's still with us, but
I think it's it looks like it's Kakegurui.
Oh, okay.
Kakegurui.
Yeah, you
Gurui.
You guys cannot expect me to remember something of that caliber, but
yeah, it's tough. We're idiots.
Yeah. Webster, she has one out for us, but
yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you see, so the poopy pants guy, and then you see the rustling butts where the overly confident person that just has like stacks and stacks where you're like, I don't know how they're winning so much money.
Yeah.
But you just tell they're at the casino every day and like somehow cheat the system.
Well, I've thought about it, man. Like it's a 24-hour establishment. That's what I was thinking of. I stay up all night all the time. I've been thinking about it of just one of these days, if I got an extra bit of energy at like 5 or 6 in the morning, just run into the casino by myself and seeing what kinds of people are there at that time.
Like what creatures come out within the wee hours.
Well,
you know,
I would imagine, and you know, I've never been around that time or anything, but the people I've seen like coming and going, and just from the couple conversations, because I used to, when I worked at Circle K, I hung out with a couple homeless guys. Like I would stick around after work and smoke with them and stuff. And a lot of them would say they would like, you know, it would be like a week event where they would be like, yeah, this week I'm gonna walk over to the nearest casino, which takes them like a day and a half to walk to, and then they spend the week there with everything they made panhandling in the like outer city.
No way.
And they take it to the casino and they try to make it into more money, and then they walk back over here. So they basically are like on work 2 weeks, off on vacation at the casino 1 week, and then back on 2 weeks. It's a crazy lifestyle.
What a life. Yeah.
Because what the few other times I've been to the casino in the past is I would see people kind of walk in and out that looked like, I was like, this person, like, it was kind of sad to me. It was like, this person looks homeless, you know, like they're trying to come in here to like make their money to survive. But from the experiences I had with the homeless guys that I knew that did that, it seemed like it was a good time for them.
You know, they say the average panhandler makes $300 in a day.
Yeah, which is pretty fucking good.
That's a lot more than some people working.
Do that a couple times a week.
Yeah.
I could pay my rent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it is a time sink, and you know, it's not like a 300. You know, you got to think of.
You're not guaranteed that 300.
Yeah,
you know.
But it's the same thing, like serving, bartender, service industry. It's the same thing. It's just, you know, tough to do, and some people fall on hard times. But from what I learned, is a lot of people choose that lifestyle. And that's cool. That's cool. Hey, you know, it doesn't stop me if I see somebody on the side of the road and I'm like, I can give an extra $5 today. I don't mind. You know, I take $5. It's cool. No problem. But maybe I'm a little biased. I don't really care what they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, nor do I. I always think about that. It's like the intention of giving it to them is your own thing, you know, and you're like, what they do with it, it's like, of course, like, I hope, you know, it's going to good use, but it's like, you can't control that.
Yeah.
And if they did really need it and you don't give it to them, I mean, yeah, you very well could give them $5 and they're like, oh, thank you so much, you know, God bless, I really appreciate this. And then they go into the alleyway and then that's the end of that chapter of Metamorphosis. But, you know, you just never...
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's the same thing of just like in my head. It's like it's not like I'm giving the person the money because it's like, oh, you know, like this person really needs it. It's like, no, this, to me, that's their job. You know, they go stand there like an asshole on the on-ramp of a freeway and I'm giving them $5 because I'm like, hey, listen, bro, you looked real pathetic out there.
Yeah.
Fuck with that. Cool.
Sometimes they're just like, there are the con artists out there.
Yeah.
They put on an excellent act. And I'm not saying that's all of them. Absolutely not. There's
situational.
More than, you know,
but
less,
like I've been approached by the same people over the course of a year, like 9 times, the same group of young guys that comes up to me and gives me the same story about how their cousin ran out of gas and they're just looking for change so they can get gas. And that happened over the course of a year until I was just like,
you never got gas.
This is the 4th time you've asked me for money. Like, I frequent this gas station. I know who you are. This is the 4th time you've asked me for money. And he just stared at me and I was like, here's 75 cents. Like, just be genuine about it, you know? Just be like, hey, man, you know, fall on hard times. You got $5?
Or just be like, man, you know, I'm trying to slam in the parking lot later. Like, you got some change? Well, since you were so honest, you know.
Yeah. I
mean, there's definitely, I had a similar experience with this guy that when I would frequent LA, like Little Tokyo, he was out there and he had this story, I remember the first time, where he's like, yeah, I just got out of prison and I was dropped off here, which total bullshit. Like, you'll never just be dropped off at a random place. Like,
yeah,
you know, from the prison. There are accommodations, but he was like, yeah, and I just, you know, trying to get bus fare and stuff, you know. And I came back 6 months later, and it was the same guy. Man, I just got out of prison. I'm like, either he went back in, had a short sentence, got out on good behavior, and came back to this exact spot, or
hey,
like,
listen, you got to respect the sales pitch.
yeah. But I told him, I'm like, bro, you said that 6 months ago, and he looked at me so perplexed. And I knew it was for sure him because he had a giant cross tattooed on his forehead going onto his nose, and I'm like, you don't see that often.
Yeah, that's the same with these guys. Is like it was very distinguishable, and it's just it was the same person multiple times. And the first couple times I gave him money, but also at the same time, it's a community effort in my brain.
Yeah,
it's the same thing as like I've worked a lot of jobs, bartending and serving and stuff. It's like tips are a huge portion of that.
Oh,
and
yeah.
To me, it's like it makes me feel like the community I live within is helping me survive. People come in and I chat it up with them and stuff, and they're like, you know what, I'm going to give this dude $10. Like, my community is helping me to pay my bills. So it's just always been a thing. Like, when I go out, I tip really well. If I see somebody on the side of the road and I got a good grip of cash in my wallet, like, I'll give them $5. I'm not going to miss $5.
Absolutely. And, I've always held that kind of same train of thought where you see it as I'm in a typical service industry and I don't really deserve any of it. It's all gratuity. It's all people just pretty much like, hey, like, enjoyed the experience, here you are, or they're just genuinely giving, generous people. So like I give that out because I'm like, it was never really mine in the first place. Like, they made my day. You could only hope to make someone else's day because you understand, like, a lot of times, in this kind of work, you don't make a lot outside of tips. Like, tips are your bread and butter.
Yeah.
And if you are not tipping your server or someone in that industry and you're watching this episode right now, just click off. We don't need you here.
Honestly, it depends because, like, if you feel like you got shitty service, there's been times where I refuse to tip somebody.
That's different.
Usually
that's an exception.
I won't do that. That's like absolutely bad. Usually if somebody gives me poor service, I give them the standard.
I'm talking when someone like, breaks their back, like going through all the motion, like above and beyond, and then like you're still not tipping because you just never tip. Can't stand that, where it's like, if someone smacks your mom, spits in your mouth, and takes a dump on your grandma, like you probably shouldn't give them a tip,
Yeah, definitely. But it's in a lot of other countries, they don't have, it's not like a tipping culture, but you'll find in a lot of places that provide an above average service, you'll find the gratuity charge included in the check.
Yeah.
So you don't have to tip. Yeah, you don't have to spend any extra money, but if you're going to a fancy restaurant, you're expecting that 18% added onto your check as a gratuity charge.
Yeah.
We just have the tipping culture of it's not mandatory for most places. I've worked at a lot of places where, if you had a party of 6 or more, it was automatically added to the check of 18%.
Yeah.
And then anything after that, if you wanted to tip more, you could. But it's few and far between. Most of the places I've worked, it's, getting stiffed is nothing. You get fucked on that one, but more often than not, people are going to take care of you. That's why I try not to get tripped up about it too much. Like, generally, my thing is I don't look at checks, I don't count my tips through the night. I don't take account of any of that because it's just like, I'm just going to give good service and assume that by the end of the night, I'll be taken care of.
Right.
Because maybe somebody tips you 0, but maybe the next person is like, you know what, I really fuck with this guy. I'm going to tip 100%.
Yeah.
And that basically cancels out. You could get 5 zeros in a row, and then one person comes in and is like, I'm going to take care of this guy, and it makes up for all of the zeros.
Oh, yeah, that happens a lot of my work, too. Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't want to tip, that's fine. I get it. I'm not going to change that. I don't want to change my service because you don't want to tip, because it is optional. It's always appreciated, but it's one of those things, if you don't want to tip, it is optional.
Yeah.
I don't want to make anybody feel like shit because they believe that they shouldn't have to tip, because that's valid. I agree with it. It sucks for me because I'm like, shit, dude. And fuck, you took up 2 hours of my time, and I was thinking I was gonna make a little money, and I didn't make the money, but I try not to be too bent out of shape about it.
Oh, I'm spiteful.
Yeah.
Because I get recurring people.
Recurring no tips, yeah.
That wait on me, that try to become my client. And I'm just going to be real. There is incentive there when that person comes in that always gives me a hard time with the service, and they're not enjoyable to be around, and on top of it, they don't tip. And then, your boy comes in and he's like shooting, that 20 once a week, but he came in 5 minutes after that guy. I would be lying to say there are sometimes I'm not like, hey, yo, you're ready for that appointment? He's like, what appointment? I'm like, the appointment you had. The other guy's like, oh, I came in first. Oh, sorry, bro, you had an appointment. Like,
but I think that is really what like kind of popularized the tipping culture, is the fact that it was like the camaraderie of you go somewhere as a regular. It's not expected. Like if I just stop in for a beer somewhere, I'm not going to tip 100%.
You're just like, you can't go in straight with the 100. You just got to start with a little 15, just a little.
If I had an endless amount of disposable income, I'd be tipping 100% no matter what. I would be paying people's bills if I could, but it's, if I go in somewhere and it's a new place and I'm testing it out, and I, get the service, it's, I'm going to be moderate with it. I'm going to make it in a way that's like, I'm going to leave the tip and walk out, and they're going to be like, God damn. Well, hell yeah. I hope it makes their day, but where I'll really start shelling out the cash is when I go somewhere consistently and I fuck with these people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's almost like, it's embarrassing to say, man, but I would have I had a client that I'd had for almost 4 years, and always took really good care of me, and I'd see him every week and cut his hair. And he was in the military, so he got out and he was moving back home. But man, it was like, I almost feel like tearing up. He's leaving. I was telling him, like, bro, like, I couldn't be more grateful. Like, you really took care of me through like kind of this part of life, like gave him a hug, and I was just like, man, like there was a lot of times, I would be like hard up and like, what am I gonna like do? And then like it was people like that like didn't have to but chose to tip and be generous like that, and I was like, I'll be okay now, and
yeah, it's kind of funny how like it's not like you're really always on like hang out outside of your job terms with your regulars, but like I feel like your regulars genuinely become your friends. And
totally.
It is a weird dynamic because it's, they come in and they tip you good and stuff, and you're like, oh, like whatever. But in my experience, like those people are always good people.
Right.
I've never had somebody tip me a lot of money and I've like continued a conversation with them and not liked them.
Right.
Because if somebody had like a fundamental disagreement with me about like my moral standpoint on something, but they were tipping fat, like I still wouldn't have a problem telling them. Be like, listen, man, I disagree with you. And they could be, they could say, well, forget about your tip then. And I would say, okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. But generally, when people tip good and are regulars, like they're cool people.
Yeah,
I always get along with them.
It comes full circle because when someone takes care of you, it's symbiotic. It's like, I would hope, you're also thinking, you're like, man, what could I do to like kind of hook them up, take care of them. And there's a lot of times those same clients, like they were hard up, or I'd be like, it's on me. This one, or birthday, or like they, I wasn't working that day, but they had to be at a wedding, that night. I would come in like because
if my regular came in celebrating somebody's birthday or something, like I'd get a couple free drinks for them, get a free dessert on the house. Like I'd take care of them. And I feel like that's why you do it, subconsciously. It's like you're doing a really good thing by helping somebody, but you're also getting benefits from it if you come back to that place. Because, like, once you walk in the door, like, you're my priority. You know, it's not because I'm expecting that you're going to tip me good, although it is like, I know these people tip good. I'm going to, like, I want to help these people.
You want to, like, earn it, essentially.
Yeah, but it's basically like you're paying it back. So the last time they came in, they took care of me. Now I'm going to take care of them. If they take care of me again, the next time they come in, I'm going to take care of them. It's a mutually beneficial thing. And it's not like there's any animosity. You know, if somebody comes in that had tipped good and they didn't tip, my first thought would probably be like, you know, they're probably going through something. If they come in again, you know, I'm going to try to, like, use my manager meal to get them dinner for the night, like, take care of their bill. Because to me, it's just like, if you come in and you take care of me like that and then you stiff me on a check, I'm not going to be mad about it. I'm going to think there's something going on, and I'm going to think, what can I do to help this person next time they come into this place?
And that goes to say, too, you know, there are certain circumstances, and it's funny because sometimes you notice, like, the people with the least will give the most. Because I can understand, you know, if you're not in a position to tip and, you know, financially you have a hardship, that's totally understandable. The thing that irks me is when somebody is very well capable, like beyond well capable, and still chooses not to. Like, there are times, you know, I'll have a client that pulls up in a bucket, like only 3 wheels on it, about to, you know, just completely die, and incredibly, like, you know, generous in, like, the tipping department. And then there's someone that whips in, like, a brand new BMW or a Tesla, and, like, you don't see anything. Like, and I think the worst time is there was a guy that was a Lyft or, like, Uber driver and DoorDash maybe, but he was talking about how much he would always brag about how much he gets tipped through work and everything, and complaining about people not tipping him, but he never tipped once. And I was like, I just saw so much irony in that. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous.
That's where it was like, bro, like, that almost stings, because you're just talking about, yeah, man, I made like 200 in tips this night, but, like, not gonna shoot your barber $1, bro. Like, come on. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good, you know. Sometimes, man, like, my AAA drivers, when they come to unlock my car, sometimes I'll tip them.
Bro, I feel like
generally I try to tip everybody who gives me good service. I know a lot of places are like, no, I can't take that, but, like, if I think it's appropriate and that they can take it, I'm just like, hey, listen, you helped me out. I got a little bit of extra cash. Like, can I give you a tip?
Bro, everyone always thought it was weird, man. I always tip the dry cleaners and the tailor, which is like,
I feel like those are two things you should tip.
Yeah, which is not usually, like, there's no tip jar, you know, and it's not like, oh, there's no tip option on receipts, but I always shoot them a couple bucks because I'm like, dang, like, this dress shirt is, like, clean. You know?
Yeah, just a quick little fire. It's the same thing, like, the concept of it, especially in the service industry, you know, like, with how customer service driven they are and stuff. It's, if my friend was to come pick me up, like, I'd give him $5, you know? They'd be like, hey, thanks for the ride, like, consider it gas money or whatever, like, here's $5, thanks for doing this for me, you know? Incentivize it. Like, I want to benefit you as much as you've benefited me. Like, what's wrong with just slapping a 5 to somebody who helps you out? You know?
You know, I think, like, just the moral of the story here is just, like, even outside of, like, monetary means, just finding ways to, like, give to other people, if only that could be more of a focal point in everybody's lives, like, be a lot better place. You know what I mean?
It really would. Which gets me thinking about something I've been thinking about for a long time, because I know, like, you know this, but I'll just say it as, you know, just for a little backstory and stuff. I used to volunteer a lot when I was in high school, you know, at, like, St. Mary's Food Bank and the Sojourner Center, like, setting up things like that. Is, like, I really enjoyed volunteering, and I've been thinking about it a lot, and I've had this idea for a little bit of trying to get, like, you wore the ripped pants.
These were normal jeans until we started this episode. She's just been having at it.
Okay, I'll try to keep her under control.
Okay.
But, like, I've thought about it at work of trying to get, like, hey, you know, like, if we're all off on this day, like, we should sign up for some volunteer work or something. I've been really thinking about getting into it again, of just, I don't know. I just think it would be good.
Yeah.
It would be fun, you know, with a couple friends to go do something, and it's like, hey, we can all work together for the day, and yeah, we don't get paid, but like we can help somebody out, and you know, like go work in a food center or something for 4 to 5 hours, and then go out to lunch together and have some drinks and stuff, and just be like, hey, you know, like we helped the community today. Like I've been really thinking about how I could fit it back into my schedule of doing some volunteer work semi-consistently.
Yeah.
Because it's always been important to me, but I haven't done it since high school.
Yeah.
I think it'd be cool. If you're interested, maybe we could do it like once a month or once every couple months. Just go do something.
No, absolutely. I mean, I you know, not giving everything away, but like there was a point where I was able to use like my craft, you know, to kind of do something like that. I was just like once a week, but it was really cool because it was something like, you know, you always think, you're like, man, like you see all those ads for like, you know, donate to this cause and this cause, and it's like you feel terrible if like you can't like give to everything in that way, like if you're not, you know, financially capable. But you know what I mean? Like there are just times you're like, oh, what else could I do? That's what more could I do? And you realize that like just like your time and like any skill you have, you know, and it doesn't take much. And I found something really cool I was doing. It was kind of this new startup in Oceanside, you know. But yeah, it's something I would like to do again. You know, I've been out of it for a while, so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you could find something similar, because I'm assuming you're talking about like barbering, you know, like cleaning somebody up to be professional and stuff, just like for, you know, to help.
Exactly.
I'm pretty sure you could find a similar program here. 100% you could. But that is the thing, is it is a time thing. And that's not that like my time has been super valuable and stuff. I just kind of got caught up with other things, but it's now my time is becoming increasingly valuable, but I want to try to slice out a section where I could give back in that sense.
Yeah.
By the way, we went and saw Jujutsu Kaisen 0 today.
We did, yeah.
That's what this whole
That's what we were supposed to be talking about the most. Now that we're back.
Bathroom. And we avoided this all day. It was the most awkward experience because it was nice outside. After the movie, we stood by the car and kept being like, you know, I really liked David for the podcast.
Yeah. It's like, well, that part of podcast.
So, I mean,
we finally get to talk about it.
What did you like about the movie?
Oh man, what did I not like about the movie? I mean,
question. Was Yuta introduced in the show
prior? No. Not that I could recall, at least. So I had seen it in completion, but
there wasn't anything
in my recollection.
Like there was a student missing from that group.
I think there was kind of the notion that there was a student out doing missions on his own, so that may have been him.
No, probably.
But yeah, don't quote me on it. I do have to kind of rewatch it to like.
I think it was like that, because I think when they introduced them, they were like, "This is 3 of the 4 members of this class."
Yeah,
and the 4th one is.
Which they'll probably introduce him now.
Yeah, now that the movie's
come out. The prequel came out. Yeah,
with the next season that comes out, that's probably going to introduce him, but. I think it's gonna be sick, you know. It's like an equivalent to what's the guy with Sukuna in him's name? Itadori,
yeah.
Is that it? Yeah. Like now it's somebody equivalent to that. Like it's the same thing of, you know, like they could easily shift the narrative to making him the main character.
Right, yeah.
I think like because in that in Jujutsu Kaisen 0, I very much felt like he was, you know, the main character of the whole show.
Yeah, they really it gives you that feeling without a doubt. And yeah, what I liked about it was that it had, of course, a lot of the familiar faces, but even with the new characters, you know, it was equally captivating. And just, you know, hands down to Mappa, man. I mean,
dude,
They don't miss.
It was very reminiscent of like what I felt in Attack on Titan, but like more refined.
Yeah.
The music choice is just so great, and that opening sequence, not the opening sequence because it kind of opens with the the backstory of Yuta and everything, and Rika.
Right.
But when it's going through that whole kind of opening sequence where the music is playing and he's getting ready for his first day at Jujutsu High and he's walking down to like the school area and stuff, it gave me huge Tokyo Ghoul vibes. Did you feel that? Like just the timing of the music and the way it was framed and everything, it was like it gave me that Kaneki walking Hide down the street in his arms vibe,
No, I absolutely know what you mean. Yeah.
I mean, there was, I'll say at least 2 or 3 times where I was really like choking back some tears, even in the beginning, just everything. I was just like, God damn, like the music placement, everything that was happening, it was just really, it took everything it wanted from me,
Right.
Like even the cheesy parts, just with the score of the music, that's what I've really got to give it credit for. Whoever, I don't know if it's MAPPA, like internal house, or if they have somebody outside who does the audio production and the music choice, but
yeah, usually it's actual like performing artists and bands that they take on, like, hey, I like your music.
Yeah.
So a lot of times you'll see they take an existing song normally and turn it into an intro, but for the bigger names in anime, like you'll see like original music done for them.
But just it's the same thing as like when I was watching Attack on Titan, the thing I really, really got to give it up for is just that like the music choice is on. They really just full send it on that, like even at the parts where it's like, oh yeah, like whatever. The music is really what brings you into the feeling of the scene. Like tonally, very spot on. It's just it's perfectly laid in there.
Absolutely. And really the biggest thing I took from the movie is that what I really appreciated is they took a character, so I believe it was a Geto?
Yeah, Geto Suguru.
Yeah, so he was throughout the series always kind of that very mysterious, elusive villain type. You really knew all 24 episodes, you really don't know shit about this guy, and they really go into kind of the type of person he is. Like you see parts of his personality you didn't really see in the show.
Yeah.
He was always that calm, collected, but you kind of saw like other parts of him come through and what his narrative was and why he was doing the things he does, and you're like, oh, like it kind of makes sense. Like,
yeah,
he's definitely a bad dude, but in his mind he thinks he's doing something
and he's
good
in
and
agreement
grand.
of it. That like flashback situation they have with him and Gojo where he's talking about it and he's saying like, I know, basically like, I know how you must see me, but I've decided how to live my life, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do it regardless of whether it's right or wrong. It's that resolve that you have to respect. That's what makes a good villain, is that it's not just like, oh, this is the big bad, this is the person who is all the evil in the world, but it's that you can also in some sense relate to the villain.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes a good villain, is because it gives you that internal pull of like, I don't really know what's right and wrong. I don't really know who to support because I support both of these ideals, but they're just going about it different ways. I think it was really cool to see more of, Geto's whole backstory and what he has to play, because it was the same. He was a recognizable figure. I knew what role he had to play in the show, but in the show, he just seems like the big bad. He is the guy orchestrating these curses to do this thing that he wants, but now we know really where he stands.
And he always seems so isolated before. Like throughout the movie, you see that he kind of has this collective of Jujutsu sorcerers that like are around him supporting his ideals, because throughout the series it's literally just like the how is the word slipping me right now?
What is the main guy's name, like Makashito?
No,
something.
I was the curses.
Yeah.
Like the embodiments, like the curses that he's like hanging around with, and he's like the one human. He's just a curse user, but like seeing him with other humans that are curse users, it was like, oh, there's more people than this guy.
Yeah.
That think this way. So that was pretty
and
cool
you
to
kind
see.
of get a little bit of the backstory too about how these jujutsu sorcerers are treated outside of the main establishment that we've been following. You know, it's these people have been, the two girls that were fighting for Geto using their curse powers, like he found them locked in a cage, you know, beaten because they were like they could see curses or whatever. You know,
Yeah.
you see kind of the other side of how these people were treated and why they developed the thought processes.
Which was definitely nice to see, because I feel like throughout the series, as much as I loved it, the world never felt very big. It felt like it all kind of revolved around that school and that like those little towns, you know.
And the movie still did.
Yeah.
It did revolve around it, but it opened up the world a little more.
Yeah.
It gave us a little more insight into characters that, you know, and I got to say too, you know, it was an hour and 45 minutes of a movie, but it felt so much longer than Batman.
It
like,
did.
So many more things felt like they happened in this movie than when we saw Batman. And that's another thing I wanted to say. Like, we're kind of becoming little movie buffs. I mean,
hardly.
We've been to the theater twice in 2 weeks.
That's major for us.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's huge,
without a doubt.
I had a conversation with a gentleman in the bathroom that was also going to see it.
Oh, I was there too. All three of us, actually. You, myself, and this guy just at the urinal. He's like, because you had commented on his Hunter x Hunter shirt, and you're like, is that how I say it? He's like, yeah, no, that's right. You know?
I asked if it was a Hunter x Hunter shirt, because I just I vaguely saw Killua on his shirt. It was just a white-haired character, and I thought it was Hunter x Hunter, and I commented on it, and luckily I was right. Because I was pretty sure it was Killua, but, you know, I could have been wrong.
Oh, totally. And so we're all just taking a leak, and he's like, so I'm assuming you guys are here to see the Jujutsu Kaisen movie too? And we're like, oh yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like if we had heard anything about it, and I was like, nope. Specifically avoided it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've even really heard much about it, but goddamn, dude, it was good. It was fucking good. Like, I don't want to be too much of a Mappa fanboy, but I'm starting to think that Mappa, like, they really fucking, dude, when they get the time and they can, like, do it.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's like, they have probably the biggest names out there currently. I mean, with Kaisen, Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man coming out, being as big as it's most likely going to be.
Yeah. They got a lot of the biggest IPs right now. Like, they're really killing it.
Yeah.
But there was a specific point I wanted to make.
I mean, was it like with the fight scenes or just the general?
Oh, yeah, it was with the fight scenes.
Yeah.
Two specific things. One, the scene where Rika gets let loose at the school and she says how pretty she is.
Yeah.
And she just starts smashing into the ground. Like, that's a Dark Souls boss.
Yo,
that
it is
a fucking Dark Souls boss right there. Like, she just, like, you think she's gonna attack, but then it's like, nope, it's a combo.
Yeah.
And it just goes into it. I thought that was really fucking sick. And then the other part was I liked the fast animation of when they were, you know, when they were fighting Geto at the end, and he would like dodge, and she would barely come in after him. The way they did it, in like, it was like a single frame where it was like she runs into the wall, and then it's a single frame of her right here, and then back into the wall.
Yeah.
The way it looked, it was just so fast that it looked like a single just still drawing frame, but the way they utilized it, it just made it look like there was so much more going on in the scene.
And even when it came to, they would show fluidity too, like with my favorite part of the animation, which wasn't like as grand of a moment as that conclusive battle, but it was when Gojo was facing off with, I don't know his name, referred to him as the foreigner, the guy with the cursed rope, where he's like, do you know how many generations, they took into building this, whatever. But when he like lands a couple punches on him, and then he just goes in for a combo and just gets faster and faster, and then he's just really doing kind of like a rock'em sock'em with him.
It was in that moment that I kind of wanted to lean over to you and be like, listen, I've never really cared about Gojo, but I'm on board. He's cool as fuck.
Yeah, that was,
there was
like
a couple cool scenes in the show with Gojo, but I feel like this movie really showed the backstory and like how he just, like, his nonchalantness of like the council, telling him like, we still decided we are going to execute Yuta, and he's like, just know if you do that, I'm gonna take his side. Yeah. And it was like his amount of power in it that he was like, you guys are asking me to do the execution because nobody else can kill him. So instead, he's enrolling in Jujutsu High. Yeah. Like, you have two options. Leave him alive and free to, ruin everything, or I take him to Jujutsu High. It's like, it really shows that power dynamic of like how Gojo is the most powerful sorcerer. Yeah. And I really started to fuck with it. But yeah, that fast combo sequence, like, even with it's like the rope is affecting my ability to do these things, and you see he still got it. Like, yeah, that scene, that animation of him doing the fast combo, dude, give it up for fucking Mappa. Yeah, that animation sequence, that right there is just, I thought it was amazing. I feel like we're gonna look stupid with everybody else being like, yeah, it was kind of like okay, it wasn't really a great movie. But I thought it was fantastic. It was. And yeah, don't expect it to be like this groundbreaking thing that's just like, oh, it's going to take Jujutsu Kaisen to the next level. But it was more needed than it was wanted, I think. It was that prequel that gave context, had some cool action in it. And if you're going in with like these high expectations, just know, like, just appreciate it for what it is. I do think, though, like, I think it'll do the same thing like Mugen Train did for Demon Slayer, It like upgraded it. It was like Demon Slayer was Demon Slayer, and then Mugen Train came out, and it was like, oh, damn. And then season 2 came out, and it was like, oh, damn. Yeah. Like, imagine, follow that same scenario. You take Jujutsu Kaisen, and now we have the movie. Now imagine the next sequence we get. Like, I think it's just like, it's a good way to do it because, it was already good. Yeah. And now we've got the deep backstory of like why certain things are going on in a movie format that is really well animated. And now I feel like the animation for the next, like everything that follows from here is just going to get upgraded just like Demon Slayer did. I think so too. So and I'm really looking forward to that. Future Jujutsu Kaisen is really going to be a hot topic to watch because it's going to, like, not only is the story getting deeper, but the animation is getting more fluid and more stylistic it's just enjoyable, It's always been good, but it was the same thing. Like, Demon Slayer was really good, and then Mugen Train came out, and it was like, holy shit, and then the next shit came out, and it's like, yeah, with that second season, you didn't think they could step it up as much as they did, but you just see it and you're just like, oh, like when the whole town goes in the flames, that episode, and then the ending credits, the ashes are coming down as the credit sequence is going, and it's just like, bravo. Like, it's just, it was immaculate. And I really think we're going to see that same, like, it's always good to have competition. Yeah. And I feel like right now Jujutsu Kaisen and Demon Slayer are really just like bumping heads with each other. But I mean, we talked about it on the last episode. Like, Jujutsu Kaisen, is 2 million copies sold for 2022 above then second place Tokyo Revenger is at 4 million.
Yeah.
Like Jujutsu Kaisen is popping off this year.
Yeah.
With the hype of the movie coming out, and now that it's out, I just think like it wasn't a flop, you know? Like the built hype for the movie coming out, I just feel like it's gonna propel it forward.
Right.
I feel like it was this is exactly what Jujutsu Kaisen needed. Because it just hit a point for me, you know, in the series where like I had kind of fallen off. I was like, you know, they introduced characters I know nothing about, and this movie made me interested in them. Now I want to go back and watch this Kyoto sister school and like get to know these characters in the series, because now I give a shit about them. They've shown me that they have depth. They have purpose in the story. And I'm fucking stoked on it. It seems sick.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where I feel like almost like Attack on Titan, it's just kind of slowly unraveling. And that's what I like, where, of course, sometimes you get lost and it's like you want the juice off the bat, where you just want everything thrown at you. But sometimes it's just nice to like cruise. And yeah, it's a little slow on the build up, but it's turning into something so much bigger than you'd ever anticipated. And then when it just hits, way different.
Yeah. And I genuinely thought, and I was kind of hopeful for it, that at the end of the movie, you know, like when he said, like, Rika, I'll sacrifice all of me to you to use your power one last time. I didn't want it to happen, but I was glad that I was like, I hope this character dies. I hope this character is removed from the series, and that is the drive for all these other characters.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he lived so that maybe we can get some more of him, you know? Maybe he becomes like a cursed weapon user like Maki, and they have their little bit, you know? I wouldn't mind him being in the series further. But the whole movie, I just felt like it was building me up to lose this main character. You know? It was a one and done. It was, we're going to introduce him in the movie and we're going to kill him off in the movie. And I thought I would get that. So I was prepped for it the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I saw, you know, when it started to, you know, after the fact, started to kind of open up, and it was like he's going to survive, going to live. And I didn't think what was going to happen. I thought he was going to keep Rika, and it was just going to be like now they're officially bonded. But I definitely thought it was building me up to lose
Right.
But I didn't, you know. Glad he's still in the story, but I think it would have just hit hard. Make a movie where you introduce a character, make like you get used to the character, and then remove him. And now that is the drive for all the other characters going forward in the like the serialized show.
Yeah.
It would have been sick.
Yeah, you see that point a lot, where it's oftentimes like that pinnacle death that creates who the other characters become. Eventually, it's always, you even see it at the beginning of the series, you know, his grandpa dies, you know. There's always some kind of death that is like pushing other people to,
I mean, the obvious revival, but when Itadori dies in front of the guy with the Shinigami.
Why would we have to know that?
Well, I don't know. No reason.
Yeah.
But when he dies at the school when they're fighting, you know, like that's a huge point of growth for the characters until he's reintroduced as like, oh, fuck, lived. You know, like,
oh yeah,
that was cool. But I feel like the next time they try to pull something like that on me, like the character needs to actually die. You know?
Yeah.
I come on, Mappa, give me that Attack on Titan removal of characters. You know, don't worry about if I like the character. Make me feel something.
Yeah.
Kill a character. I need somebody to die so I know that this story is real.
You want to look up that name real quick?
Yeah.
So
I feel like it's like Ita, but I feel like I'm just thinking Itadori.
All right, so it seems like we came up with the name.
Megumi Fushiguro.
totally slipping me. So
Yeah.
I was just gonna keep saying wolf spirit guy.
Yeah, I think it may have been tough because, like, even just reading his name, like Fushiguro, it's just hard for me to say. Fushiguro.
And
Megumi.
spoiler, he's not in the movie whatsoever.
Yeah, no.
He's too young for that shit because they're going over the freshman class at the time.
Yeah.
So he's not even a student there yet. Megumi, the reason we were getting at it is because the beer pairing.
It is wolf.
It's a wolf. It's a wolf, and we really wanted something to be encompassing of Jujutsu Kaisen, and we went to Bevmo, and we went to
Total Wine.
I was gonna say Wine Plus, yeah, Total Wine. But we had this one. We got all these other ones. We were looking at it, and we're like, that looks just like the spirits he conjures up, or the curses, I should say, the curses that he conjures up. So you're the IPA guy. I'm gonna let you take the reins on this one. How do you feel this pairs well with Jujutsu Kaisen?
Well, you know, a large amount of the story is bitter. You know, a lot of the characters suffer. They have a lot of emotional damage that they're trying to work through. And I feel like this could be closely related to that because when you drink it, you know, you get a primary amount of that bitter flavor, that taste that you're not sure if you quite like, but it's just got a splash of that goodness in there. You know, much like Okotsu Yuta from the movie, you know, originally starting saying that he just wanted to, you know, submit to being executed so that he wouldn't hurt anybody. He takes that bitterness and finds the sweetness of, you know, it is sad to be lonely in life. If you're not going to go outside and you're going to avoid things because you might hurt somebody, like that, you're going to be lonely, you know? So even with that bitter flavor, he goes out and finds that splash of sweetness that makes it easy to drink.
That works.
Yeah.
Even though, honestly, I'd probably never drink this again.
I think it's pretty good.
It's good for an IPA, but it's too much IPA for me. It's too much of that tinny metallic of what I find hard with IPAs. And it's funny, I love bitter things, but just bitter hoppiness. And I say this in every episode. I always complain about it, but it's just the bitter hops are hard for me to get past.
Yeah.
You know?
And I like them. Because it's like a sweetness. Like you chomped a hop off the plant and you're doing it in your mouth. You know, it's bitter, but it's natural.
And that's not to say that this isn't an excellent beer. You're taking this from somebody that just doesn't happen to like this particular style. So
yeah,
there are definitely, for someone who does enjoy IPAs, I think this would be up your alley. But I always have to find the ones that are mellower on that quality.
Yeah, but that's the thing, you know, we've got an even split here. So generally, I feel like with most of the pairings, because we're pretty much on two opposite sides.
Yeah.
Like you like the sweetness, you like the juicy flavors, and I like the bitter. So we're probably always going to be at combating ends of these things.
I wouldn't even say that, though, because I really don't like juicy sweetness. I don't mind fruited, but I like sour, and I like bitter stout, like not even sweet stouts, but I don't like herbaceous bitter. So I don't mind the bitter. I don't like the herbaceous quality, like the earthiness is something I don't personally enjoy in a beverage, but
I still think we're probably going to be split between most things.
Oh, no, yeah, I agree
but we'll
with that.
find the middle ground.
Because, as far as I think the thing we do have in common is that neither of us really like overly sweet things, you know?
You'd be drinking some sour beers that...
They're not sweet.
So we both dislike sweet, but we're on the opposite sides. Sour, bitter.
Yeah.
Herbal bitter. That, I don't know, sour.
Yeah.
But it's just, I feel like, it'll be an even split. We'll be able to try a lot of different things where it'll be like, I like it, you don't. We can give thoughts
Exactly,
on it.
yeah. And I'm hoping by trying more and more IPAs and having enough of them, I will garner more of an appreciation for it. That's kind of the journey here.
Maybe not, but
I'm giving it a shot.
After trying a bunch of them, you will develop the appreciation where it's like, yeah, you won't drink this one again, but you can respect what's good about it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I've found in the sours is, we've had some beers that like, this one, if I saw this on tap, I'd be like, oh, that's cool, but I wouldn't get it myself.
Right.
And I feel like that's the thing is like, we're kind of on opposite sides of the fence to where we can try these things and give two completely different examples. Because I guarantee 90% of anybody that watches this is probably going to, if they were to try this, they'd be like, I get what he's saying.
Yeah.
Most people I talk to don't like IPAs. It is a very,
I find the opposite.
Really?
That's so funny. I feel like I always was the odd one out. Here's something interesting. I will say I found out from my liquor store pals that craft beer sales overall, like even from distributors to people that are selling it, has gone down like the past few years steadily. But during that period of time, IPAs have still climbed. It's the best selling craft beer style, and it's the only one that's continuing to move up, which
so we're a
is
dedicated
fascinating.
Bunch.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey, IPA drinkers out there, Mom, me and you.
Thank you again for staying with us, especially if you've made it this far. Remember to so thank you again. Take care, guys. Peace.